Hello, and welcome to Duchy. So, I've covered this a bit in my coverage of the Steam Next Fest. I believe it was the last Next Fest this was at. But Duchy is well, as you can probably tell from the artwork in the background here, it's Tetris. But it's Tetris with a twist. And essentially each of the different pieces will have different adjacencies and bonuses, different terrain types. And the basically goal of the game is to essentially build your duchy in the game using these pieces, and then each of the pieces give you various resources. Some will contain buildings that can be used to recruit soldiers and so on, that you then use to thwart a barbarian invasion, essentially. And in doing all this, you'll be completing a series of missions. And each of these will essentially give you some points that you can then spend on a progress tree, which basically completes the kind of like rogue-like elements of this. Because, as you can guess, you do runs, where each time you create your little duchy and fight off in various battles. And at the end of it all, depending on the number of challenges you complete, how well you do on your run and so on, you'll earn these crowns that you spend on progressing through the game here. And you get things like, you start off with gaining towns, then you get training camps, tax officers, and you even start unlocking new terrain types. So we start getting rivers here, then you get various things associated with them. We eventually get technology passive cards. Then we start getting new mechanics even with mercenaries. We start getting universities and things that attach onto that. And then ports, we unlock new factions even, and again, new mechanic fairfare, and it all kind of goes up here where you unlock even more mechanics and characters, and eventually cathedrals, blacksmiths, monuments, and so on. So there's a lot of progression and lots of replayability in here. But we'll get started on our first run. And we'll just start a normal run. And in fact, we do have a tutorial. So we'll start with the tutorial. And I'll just show you kind of how the game works. So, we'll need to progress through the map to reach and defeat the mighty boss. And this is our health bar up here, and that's kind of our overall health. We can lose individual battles, but if this goes to 0, we've lost the war against the barbarians. So we'll get started. We'll do the tutorial and we'll do our first run. So, once we complete a line, we'll explore the line. That gives us essentially a bonus for what we're building. So I can put this down. You can put things down instantly, or you can slowly move them down, and they will slowly go down over time. So if I let go now and just don't touch anything, yep, it eventually, slowly, moves down the grid here. Now typically you get bonuses for putting certain tiles next to each other. So I'm going to try to put the fields over here now that I've started getting field tiles. And I think what I'm actually going to do is we'll leave a little gap there, and we can store a piece as well here in the side. And you don't actually need to use this for the entire game. We can just leave that where it is. Anyway, I'm going to drop this farm here. And then we'll swap to our stored piece and throw down some more planes. So the farm needs planes around it, and it turns each plane in a range of 1 into fields, and fields will give us food. So I think that's going to be when the line is explored though, so we'll see how we go. Anyway, we get a wood cleaver who turns forests in range into fields. Well, not into fields, but into plains. He clears out the forests. And we get wood for each one we chop down. we can put some more planes down here, but I'm now going to swap over to our stored piece and put some more wood down just there. This doesn't quite fit here, so I'll swap back to this and we'll see if we can... Again, this isn't perfect. I'd rather have this piece that's a few down, but we've not got room to store this now, so we'll have to put this there, but we at least get one of them. And there, as you can see, we get a bunch of resources, and they're added to our stockpiles. But because we've missed this one tile now over here, we don't get the exploration bonus for completing the row. So it's quite important to try and keep full rows and try to explore as much as you can. In fact, here we can put this piece in finally. And this here. And there we go. So quite good, only one little grid piece missing there, otherwise got it all explored. And you can even hide the interface if you want to do some screenshots and things of your Duchy afterwards. Round reward, at the end of each round we get to add a card to our deck. And then it tells you the details, so we've got the cost to upgrade there, we've got the current level of the card here, and then we've got a description of what it does. And it'll also tell you what kind of card it is. This is a production card. Nice and simple. So we've got a lumber camp which harvests connected forests. It doesn't get rid of the forests. That's another thing. This one doesn't get rid of a forest. It just collects woods. It just collects wood from them. The herbalist turns each plane in range into a forest, and will even gain two. Well, yeah. I don't think that's military. I think that's health, like our actual overall health bar up here. This can be used to recover that. And then we've got the exploited lands. Each square counts as a field that gains 20 food if we explore it. So you want to put this down on a row that you intend to complete, and then you get a big amount of food for doing so. I don't think we're struggling for health or anything. I'm just going to go with the lumber camp to get some early game resources. And then of course, as it's just mentioned there, we can look at our deck at any time, and we can sell and upgrade cards from here whenever we wish. We can go to the guild now. We've got a military card we can get. And military buildings give us troops to fight the enemy. So we want to pay attention to the unit type, as each has a strength and weaknesses. Very much rock, paper, scissors. Arrows beat axes. Swords beat swords beat arrows and bows, whereas axes will beat swords. So we're getting a bit of a synergy with forests, aren't we? So maybe we should go for a ranger base that will get archers for each connected forest. So I'm going to go with that. So we can choose which one we want to go to here. Do we want more plain tiles or more forested tiles? Because that's kind of what you're looking at here. So each one of these, if not defeated, because sometimes you have the option to go to a peaceful region instead where there won't be a fight, but if not defeated, this will add 20 to the health of the boss at the end. And there'll be 30% tiles will be plain, 70% field, 70% forests. So we can choose the one that's better suited to us. And then we can look at everything that's basically going to happen in this game. So these are the pieces that we're going to see. This is what the enemy's got. So it turns each adjacent forest into a plain, recruiting swordsmen for each tile that it does this for, and a range base that recruits rangers for each connected forest piece. So actually, we've got a really bad roll here. They're going to have some really nasty cards that synergize with forests, and it's mostly forests. So we're going to want to try and lock these up by placing them around plains. We can choose another card, and we're going to want to, since it's a battle, we're going to want to get the ranger base. I'm going to put the lumber camp on instead of a wood cleaver. Oh, and it looks like we can spend food to unlock some additional card slots. So let's spend some food, and now we can take the wood clearer as well. Right. Let's ready up. We'll go in, and we'll see what we can do. So we're going to start with a ranger base. Now it's telling us here a good way to... it's telling us to try and move them away from a place where they could recruit units from. And this is actually a good chance. We'll just put this down here, and we can kind of surround it with fields. Right, lovely. So that's not going to bother us much now. Our farm will turn area in range into farms. Good, good, good. We could put this here and it would go perfectly, but this is the thing as well. You have to remember that while this is Tetris, the mechanics aren't like Tetris. We don't actually want that to go there. We want that to be somewhere where... because we want plains around this farm, not woodlands. So, I'm actually going to store that away. And what I might do instead is we'll put this down here. And then I think what we'll do is, what if we went and it's a good question actually, because we could put this down here, but it is gonna kind of lock all this up. We'll just have to put it like that. We're not going to gain exploration on this row now, but yeah, I guess we're just going to have to kind of ignore this farm. We're not being given any plain tiles, which shouldn't surprise me. We haven't got many plains in the deck. Right. Turn each forest into a plain within a range of 2. Interesting. And they get 8 wood for each. We won't get the field tile on here, but we do get it for there. However, that's not going to get explored now, of course, so yeah. Sticks and roundabouts. This wants to be surrounded by forests, so we're going to put it over here on the plains, and we're going to seal it away with that. This gets the bonus for connected forests, that's our ranger base. And we're going to finally put this in here. Going pretty well so far. Right. We'll see if right at the end here we can get a quick exploration bonus just on this row here. There we go. Bit of extra wood. And then we fight. So, the fighting rules essentially are, and it just kind of went over them there, but you can see it on the side here, but I'll go through it. when you add a unit to another, they will turn into the largest group. So if I move the swordsman here, they won't turn into an army of 10 swordsmen and 10 rangers. It's a fairly simple system, this. You know, it's not like we're playing a total war game or something. So when two groups, when you move one to another, they turn into the group with the largest number. So if, say, there were 11 archers here, and I moved the swordsman over here, they would turn into archers, and you'd have 21 archers. But because they're both the same type, I'll just check this. Yeah, there it is in brackets. It matches the destinations type if they're equal. So, example here, 25 archers plus 10 axes becomes 35 archers, and an example here of 10 axemen and 10 swordsmen becoming 20 swordsmen because the axemen moved over to the swords. So, let's see, swordsmen are really good against archers, and they'll get a 50% bonus to strength facing our archers. So this is like 15 swordsmen if we were to send them over. But if we turn them into archers, so there'll be 20 archers versus our 37 archers, we'll win a lot better. And we'll win this massively. And that's essentially it. It's just addition and subtraction, basically. So you lose defend points for each enemy left on the grid. So we lose basically our defense points, that's our health bar up at the top right. But if we've got excess, we get that as gold, as you can see. Lovely, lovely. And we can move on to the next battle. We're going to get, let's see, so wooden fortress will turn each adjacent forest into a plain and recruit swordsmen for each one it does this for. I think that's pretty good. We'll go for that. The other two aren't bad. Training camp requires it to have other military buildings, and when it says aligned it means that it's either on the same row or column as it, as far as I understand. I think. Or it might just mean, I'm wondering if that's what it means, or if it means if it's just on the board, you know, that it's aligned as in it's an ally. I'd have to test it. The fortified farm, it's basically a farm with a bit wider range because obviously it's a slightly larger building, but it comes with a small garrison, or we can get, yeah, the wooden fortress. That's what we're going to go for. Right. And we can finish the tutorial here. Right. So on this grid there are more enemies, so try to recruit as many units as possible. Wooden fort. And we're ready. So, and it's given us a bit of an advanced tip here, we can set a unit aside in the reserve queue here, and we don't have to bring that onto the field. And literally, if we're okay with just not having use of our reserve, we can just keep that in there till the end of the round and not have to worry about it. So the strategic pavilion recruits archers for every adjacent military building. Important thing to remember is that that is for any adjacent military building. And so if we were to put our ranger base next to it, it would recruit troops. So we're not going to. We're going to put our ranger base by the forest. And on that note, we're also going to make sure that these are not touching when we place them. We will, though, drop this here and get the resources off of it before we drop the wood player in. Ooh. You know what? We'll do this rally point. Over there. It is connected to an adjacent tile, so it will get some troops, but... Put that there. Then drop this down the middle to nicely fill all that in. And that's why I've got a nice perfect box there. We're running out of forest towers though for the range base and lumber camp, so we're not going to get many more troops. It's not the end of the world though, we don't have to be perfect, we just have to make sure that they don't do 50 damage to us. Right, this will turn adjacent forests into plains, so we can put some forests here maybe. Yeah, it's not gone brilliantly. Let's get some extra troops though here. Yes, that'll do. Not great, but what we can do is, let's see, swords are best against archers, so let's put the archers together. That'll give us 15 archers there, and we'll send them to our swords. Right. Then we go from the swords over to the archers, who will then attack their axemen. And what should happen is, yep, there we go. We'll get a bunch of bonus strength in this fight. So win handily. Same here, and we'll dominate them. Boom. Job's a good one. And we are victorious. Right, we're ready for the main campaign. Okay. So now we've got the gist. We'll go on to classic and a normal run. We've only got the Duchy to begin with. And we've got a starting deck with a farm and a watchtower. And we've got quests, so we have add a wood clearer to your starting deck. Increase starting defense. And increase starting resources. Oh, these are the rewards. Turn 10 plains into fields, explore 10 fields or more in a single round. Beat Act 1 with the Duchy. Right, and they'll give us bonus things. It looks like we'll eventually get 2 extra starting items there, on the looks of it. Because there's room for up to 4. We'll get started anyway. Right. So it's 50-50 there, or we can go majority forest, majority plains. We recruit for each plain, each field, turn plains into fields. We're better for plains at the moment, really. That said, it doesn't really matter too much where we go, they're all peaceful, but we don't need any troops or anything, so the watchtower's going to recruit things, but it doesn't really matter. There's no enemies here. We just want resources. So the goal here is just to try and complete rows to get resources. Right. Just drop this in, it doesn't really matter where it goes. What does matter though is that this field gets, well, that these fields get explored. We want some food. Right. Okay. Couple more rows explored. That goes perfectly there. We're running out of tiles now. And there we go. Okay. Harvest food and wood if adjacent to a production building. With the orchard. Okay. But most production buildings want to be adjacent to terrain, so you'd lose whatever terrain bonus you get, but this does give you a ton of stuff. Carpenter, again, 20 wood for each building in its row. Okay. Or we can just get wood for each connected forest. Now, we have a real good plains thing going at the moment, so we might want to avoid that. Carpenter might not be bad, because we can put the watchtower, the carpenter and the farm next to each other. They would all work next to each other, because the watchtower likes being next to fields and plains anyway, so that wouldn't be a bad shout. The problem is you have to get them all on the same row. And it's a case of, will you draw them all one after the other practically? Probably not. Right, so there's an issue with that. Mind you, it's 3 tiles long, so you could put it you could put it vertically, and, well, as long as they're on one of those 3 rows, so there's some leeway there. But I think we'll get more from the lumber camp. I think rather than just going hard onto plain synergies, we'll get some forest synergies just in case we end up with some maps that favour forests rather than plains. Sometimes we might not have the choice to fight on plains. We could probably do with more military now. And yeah, a ranger base really suits us. We don't have a way of gaining gold at the moment other than selling cards. So, plus this can go to either of these afterwards. So we'll go for the gold. We can lose some of our defences. So our max health bar up here. We can lose a bit of our health bar and gain additional resources. And I think we're going to. Right, and this is just telling us here we can either go to a peaceful area or a hostile one, but the boss will gain additional units if we don't take on a fight. So if we've got the option to fight and we don't take it, the boss will gain additional resources. I'm just going to as well, because I've noticed that there. Options. Have we got V-Sync? Yes. I'm going to say it's... Yeah, we're definitely tearing then. Right. Hostile region. Fight against the enemies now. So this looks like it's mostly plains. We'll take a lumber camp. But we'll also spend a bit of food. And we'll take the ranger base. Can we upgrade anything? Not at the moment. We need a lot of a farm and range base. We need a lot of wood. Watchtower and lumber camp. We mostly need food, though the watchtower will also want some wood. So we should probably start focusing on upgrading rather than getting more cards now. So, Garrison 8, recruit 10 axemen for each enemy military building aligned with it. Ah yeah, so aligned definitely does mean on the same row or column, because you can see little arrows coming out from it. Right. So we don't want that to be around anything else. We can always as well just leave it there. In fact that'll go perfectly like that. Right, we've got some more planes on the way. Looks like this row along here won't get explored now though. Mercenary camp, a garrison of 9. We can drop that down here. And that doesn't gain anything extra, that's just a camp with 9 guys. There's no weird bonuses or anything to that. I'm going to put the alarm tower there. We'll put this down here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to, because what you can do, it takes a moment for things to lock in place, so you can actually shuffle them to the sides here, which is quite nice. Something I quite like about the game. So then we can explore that road, and it will get some bonuses from these planes. We can even then turn that into a farm, so it gets even more. Ooh. Now there's a good question. Right, we'll put that there. Put this here so it's connected to all these forest tiles. Lovely. And then we're going to drop this here, giving us another field. Right. I'm going to put this here. Then that. We'll swap to this, drop that in. Getting a lot of nice explorations here. And then I guess we'll just place this. Boom. Right. We've ended up. What got this to be as big as it was? Oh, it counts allied ones that it's aligned with. That's why it got to be 28. Jesus Christ. Well, that's a mistake we've made. Right. I need to watch out for that more. I remember in the Next Fest demo, because I played it a lot. I unlocked everything on it. And yeah, I did this a few times. Right? You forget that, oh yeah, it just says any military building, not specifically enemy ones. I even said that when we were going through the tutorial in this episode. Very easily forgotten. Right, archers do very well against axemen, so we'll want to basically just get a big group of axes versus our archers. We will lose health for this because we've screwed up pretty badly here. 45, ooh, rough. We're barely going to have any health. Right. Note to self, don't do that again. We can reroll rewards, but it goes up in price each time we do so. I think that, yes, another ranger base. Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. We're going to get all the rangers. You can refill the gauge by spending gold. So 10 gold for 1 defense. So we could theoretically get 31 back if we wanted. We're going to trade. Let's see, we've got a lot of food. We could do with more wood. So we're going to buy some wood. Now, we don't need gold to upgrade our cards. That's not really a resource we massively need. What we are going to do is... So let's have a look. What would the watchtower give us? It recruits 2 archers for each plane and 5 for each field. Not bad. Ranger base would go up to 5 for each connected forest piece, which is pretty good. Lumber camp would just harvest more. Farm. Can we get a range increase? We can. We'll upgrade the farm. And I think we'll also upgrade the watchtower. Right. If we upgrade this again, we can get range 3 on this, which is absolutely massive. The watchtower synergizes with this, so... Oh, and this can eventually get to range 3. Okay. So you could basically put those 2 next to each other and just surround them with planes, and you'll just have a massive number of archers and things. Or we can upgrade these and just connect a giant forest. They don't need adjacency, just connections with the ranger base, lumber camp, and well, the other ranger base. We'll probably focus on those next, so we're going to want wood primarily. Which means probably focus on upgrading the lumber camp first. In the meantime, we've got 160 gold. There we go. Bit of health back. And then if we go here... Ooh, now here's a question. Here's a question. So we could fight... Right, we can fight... And then go to either getting gold or food. And then we can go and fight again. And again, this is quite important because... Fighting will remove health from the boss. Basically, if we do not fight in these rows... The boss will gain additional 40 troops. Then it'll gain another additional 40 troops. And that's going to be pretty nasty to deal with. So I think I would much rather... actually... Oh no, I'm reading that wrong. Yeah, if you go to the peaceful region, yeah, it's telling you there the boss will receive 15 troops. But there's 40 troops here. So 40 troops, but the boss gains 15 if you skip them. Right. But that does get us to a wood depot, so we can upgrade those rangers. We then would have to fight though. We'll go peaceful. I'm going to go peaceful because I want that wood depot. I'd normally always go hostile region, but I want that wood. I really do. We also want to unlock this as well. I suppose really you could have a bunch of cards. Maybe this will be something we do later on in the game. You go to a peaceful region, swap out your military cards for more production ones. So you could have something like, oh, I've got 3 lumber camps and a farm, but then you swap those out if you go to a peaceful region where it's mostly plains. Oh, I'll swap the lumber camps out for farms. You have 3 farms and a lumber camp or whatever else you've just got available. And then swap it all out for military when you're attacking. Interesting thoughts there, using these slots here to your advantage. We'll go in anyway. So it's all going to be about placing those lumber camps and things. We don't really need military, so I'm just going to put that to the side for now. Yeah, just starting to get awkward with our pieces here, isn't it? We're kind of getting a problem on the left side where we're going to need quite tall pieces to fill it in. Okay, here we go. We're getting some forest, which is exactly what we want. We can perfectly put that here. Then we throw down a farm just there. Oh yeah, it's got extra range now. That'll be fine over there. Right. Right, and we have this piece here, which is what I was looking at, or looking forward to this one. There we go. We can do that. That's a lot of wood. Just got 93 wood. And then some extra. We're on 330 wood now. Absolutely excellent. I'll put it out there as well. There's definitely a few dirty jokes in there that are not appropriate for YouTube that I won't say about me getting all the wood. But anyway, there we go. Speaking of, we'll have some more. Right, we get a challenge for getting so much wood with a single logging camp. We can get some more fields here. One final set of fields just to finish on. And we won't be able to explore any... Oh, well actually... Swap this out. We can get one more tile explored. There we go. Too bad you can't just quickly grab that out of the reserve and throw it in. But start every future run with this faction with this card. We've got the wood clearer. Maybe this wasn't necessarily in a single map. Maybe this was just overall and it'd be counting to them. Either way, because yeah, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we didn't get 10 in that single map. So it must just be counting up to them over all the battles. Right. Recruit 2 axemen and harvest 3 food for each connected forest piece. Okay. Or we can recruit 10 archers for each production building in a range of 2. Not bad either, not bad. I like the hunting lodge. It doesn't say it's going to turn those forests into plains either, so yeah, straight up just more synergies with more synergies with just being in forests. And we want that wood. Ooh, go on then. We'll make the trade. We'll bolster our health up as much as we can. Missions menu, got one new one. Turn 10 forests into plains, then into fields. Okay. Right. We'll look at our deck, and we want ranger base. Now we need 700 wood to upgrade it again. But we can upgrade the lumber camp in the meantime. Right. Ranger bases. Right. It's mostly plains actually. Right. Well, we've got the watchtower for the plains, and we'll just have to make sure we put all the wood tiles next to each other, because the ranger bases won't give us that much for those. These upgraded as well though, so it's not like we're going to do badly on plains just because we upgraded some of our wood synergy buildings. We should be alright. We just have to be a little bit careful. Let's just throw that in there for a second. Recruits 5 for each adjacent plain or field. Plus 20 if adjacent to at least 5 plains. Yeah, we don't want that anywhere near this map. It's just because this map's just nothing but plains at the moment. Just throw that down there for now. And this is where the fun begins. Right, our first range base has showed up. We'll throw that down there. We're getting a good amount of troops now, up to 24. And we're going to start throwing down our forests next to our range base here. Really good spot for this. I mean, I could put it there, but that's going to cut off that forest, and I want that to be attached to our next range base. So, although, okay, I could put it here. There we go. Put it that way. Recruit 5 axemen for each adjacent plain or field. Ooh, that's going to be painful. Yeah, that's going to be 3. Let's have a look. I'm just going to throw that down there and pretend like the right hand side of the board doesn't exist anymore. That's how I'm going to handle that. Let's just pretend that the problem doesn't exist. I want to connect as many forest pieces up to this as possible. And we do not want to put this down on the right side because we don't want any more planes next to that. Yeah, next to that enemy building. Right. But this should work. Should easily work. Axes are weak to bow and arrows, so we'll send an army of axes against all of our guys. Bam. I'm noticing a problem in that all of our troops are archers. We have nothing else. Which could create a problem later if we come across an army of swordsmen. Right, we get plus 10 health in future runs. Lovely. We're going to go for more production, I think. We can swap out all our buildings for production things if we get another peaceful area. Anyway, we're going to take... Let's see, what shall we go for here? We'll get some gold. We could get more wood. Let's get a lot of gold. Right. War, boss battle. 50-50 split between plains and forests. Well, we've gone a bit into both of them. They've got 75 troops plus a bonus 15 because we skipped a region. So they'll have 90 total. We want to watch out for them. We can spend some food to unlock an extra thing here, and we'll get the hunting lodge. Get that up and running. Right. Now the difference with the boss battle is the wall. The wall is a mighty boss that forces you to play compact. It starts with a massive group which will lose units every time it goes up in the grid. Pay close attention to the red zone. If any piece locks there, the round ends immediately. So if we lock this right now, which we're not going to, there'll be 210 troops added to the battle. We don't want that. So we're going to have to play, as it suggests, quite compact. We're going to try to fit everything in. And that's a bit of a big long tile at the moment, so let's not do that. Let's throw this strategic pavilion down and try to then close it off. In fact, we can do that perfectly with this forest tile. Now it's going to turn forests into plains and recruit troops for each one it does that for. We're not going to deal with that right now, we're just going to throw it in the reserve there. Go down this ranger base. Right, so now that we've managed to start getting some areas explored, the wall's backing up a bit, and we're getting, as we can see, it's now down to 180, and we're going to try and lower that as much as possible on the way up here. We can probably put this down safely now over here, where it won't get any bonuses given to it. we'll drop that there, and then we can slip the hunting lodge in here. Very nice. Let's place the farm here. It's not really a good spot for this, is there? I guess it'll have to go here and we'll just not have to get those lines explored. Because we can't touch that wall, and I don't want to cover up the areas of forest down here, because I want to actually attempt to connect these up. I guess it doesn't matter if these two bits of forest there aren't touching, as long as these are touching the forest. Right. Put this next to the farm. Then we want to just surround this on all sides, if possible, with plain tiles. Now, the real issue though is, so we've got this strategic pavilion here. But it doesn't really fit either. You know what? Okay, this could go there, I guess, but let's try here. Then we can put this there. We can put the strategic pavilion down here. Can't fit this in. It'll at least still be connected to the ranger base. Oh no, it's... I didn't see that block there. Right, it connects to both. Good. Right, that works out. Then we can take this and just go in here. Just there. Get rid of this rally point. Right, we need the wall to go up one now. Why isn't it going up one? Mr. Wall, please go away. We're screwed. At least we get some troops before it kills us. Right, okay. Let's see. We can turn all of their troops into archers, then send them into wave after wave of our archers, and then finally end on axemen. And then I guess just send them against the wall. I guess the wall counts as just all troops. Like, since it's a skull, you probably just don't get a strength bonus against it. We're gonna make it. Nail them. Right, there we go. Right. So this is going to be upgraded to level 2 on future runs. Nice. Right. And we'll get some bonus resources. Lovely. Right, select a card. Do we want another farm? Oh, here we go. Harvest stone for each connected mountain piece. Recruit 10 swordsmen for each connected mountain piece. Ooh. We're going to go for the stone because we're probably going to need the resources. We need a building that will harvest that. So I'm going to start with a stone quarry. But it sounds like we're going into the mountains. Right, Act 2. Well, goddamn, look at all that. Yeah, there you go. Mountainous regions. And at the end, it's going to be kind of a split between them, though less forest than the others. And there's 120 units there, and this is going to be the keep. We've got a trading fair, we've got 2 fights here, a guild, wood or food there, doesn't matter which way we go to get to it, we're going to get in a guild here. Right. Well, we've been going for an hour, so I'm going to call it there for the episode. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Drop Duchy, and yeah, we'll continue on next time on Act 2, versing the Keep, where hopefully we don't get splattered on the way, but we shall see. I'll see you then.